So we're going to define each of these or elaborate on each of the terms. So overpopulation, by definition, who could tell me? Perfect. Too many people, not enough resources. And overconsumption? Abuse of the resource. Anybody know what our current world population is? And this is an AP question for sure. 7 billion. You know that it's actually above 7 billion. For a long time, I had these notes and it said almost 7 billion. And when I looked them over, I said, wow, I have to change that. That happened last year. And this is actually a link to a world population. And it's actually going to redirect me. They've updated the site, which I love. There's our clock. And let's go to the new clock. Actually, I went to the wrong place. Oh, no, yeah. You see one birth every 8 seconds? You see that? Yeah. Look what's happening in the world population. The U.S., kind of going slow there. One death every 12 seconds.
Wait, but that's like a birth like every half a second.
Yeah.
Is that the word?
How do they?
But remember, a birth, death, two different things when you calculate population, right? You have to have a combination of the two to increase a number. Yes.
How are they able to?
Census, they take, because this is a census place. I think that's what I was linking to. So not every country is going to have accurate statistics, but they take overall, and look, who's my most populous country? And India was #1 for almost every year that I taught this subject. And I'll tell you when we get to that chapter, does anybody know why India dropped? They both actually have worked really hard. Well, it could have been a natural disaster. That's a really good answer. But they actually started their first family planning. They're the first severely overpopulated country or area to start a family planning, which we're going to talk about. That's a whole unit. Population is probably one of the most dragged on units, but if it's the root cause of all environmental problems, obviously we have to cover it. Yes?
So the number that's going up right there, every half second, that's fine. Those are people who've already been born. They could have been born yesterday, but now they're getting logged into the website and the census.
Correct.
Okay.
Or they're taking, I don't know exactly how they monitor the clock. Maybe they're taking, months of data, and that's how they can calculate that it's every second the number changes. When a baby's born, the first thing the nurse does in a country that has technology is put it into the system. And you get a social security number in the United States, at least. I don't know what happens in other countries, but yeah, they monitor that. And then there was another website that I actually had. I guess I lost that link. I'll take it to you later. It's probably during the population chapter. And it actually shows you not just births and deaths. It'll show you resource loss or gain. So it's kind of a different kind of clock, and I like that it syncs.
I don't know if it's free now, but I got an app a while ago called 7 Billion from National Geographic, and it's like kind of like an ebook, but it's really well done.
And free?
I don't know if it is right now.
Okay. Send me, guys, whenever you have something positive to share, please send me an email so that I can reference the class. Okay? Always. All right. Highest rate a resource can be used is called what? I actually uncovered a little more than the word than it is in your notes, right? Is it? Because I made it so that you can help me out with the answer. I think I covered in your notes all of this. Yes?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I made new notes this year. So, anybody know? Highest rate at which a resource can be used is called its what? Blank yield. Maximum is good. Highest is good. Overall, what's the word we're going to constantly be using?
Or sustainable.
There you go. Sustainable, because if not, we're going to exceed its availability, and that's it. It's over. So it's sustainable yield. Now, what is a resource by definition? Anything that can be used. And where do you get it? Earth. Anything that can be used. It's not necessarily needed, even though I have it worded that way. A lot of our resources we need and we can't live without. But some of the resources we have, we depend on them, but do we really need them? Who can give me an example of one?
Natural gas.
Natural gas, gold, good. So you're getting the exact feeling I wanted you to have. All right, limited quantity. What do I mean by that in terms of resources? Because they give names to resources. Non-renewable, okay? That means there's limited quantity. Really, it's gonna run out. That's what we mean. Within a certain amount of time, it may possibly regenerate, but a non-renewable resource, whatever you have on Earth is what it is, and when you use it, it's gone. What are examples?
Oil.
Oil. So oil, what else?
Coal.
Coal.
So,
Yeah, most of them.
Helium.
Oil and coal fall under what group? Who knows?
Fossil.
Fossil fuels, good. So fossil fuels, nuclear, and most minerals. Those are non-renewable resources. And then inexhaustible would be what? Renewable. Who could give me examples?
water.
Okay, water, good. Believe it or not, for a long time, I'm just gonna expose these. And these are just some examples. Water is, and you're gonna add this, even though it's not here. Water, and I put flowing water, right? Air, grasslands, soil. All these are renewable resources. They're cycled through Earth and they regenerate. But we're seeing more and more that they have the potential to be depleted for a given amount of time. So there's actually, in a lot of environmental science books, a term called potentially renewable. And I want you to put a little star and add that to your notes. Potentially renewable. When a resource is used excessively or degraded to a certain state, it becomes potentially renewable. So if you take a body of water and we pollute it, you can't use that water, correct? Until it has a chance to cleanse. If you deplete Lake Okeechobee below the water table, you're gonna have to wait for the water table to go back up. So right now it's potentially renewable, which is why we've been under water restrictions for how long? Years.
What, like when you say water is renewable, is that the same with fresh water and salt water?
Correct,
'Cause
because
they
it's a
say, like,
cycle.
You're running out of fresh water,
We are,
so.
but it's a renewable resource. Does water not go up to the atmosphere, come back down, travel through you? Somehow, it's losing its ability to cycle. So they consider it a potentially renewable resource.
Since it could run out, it will still come back.
It'll come back, but you may, I mean, there's been land that's been so degraded that its ability to regenerate in a lifetime of 50 years hasn't happened. But if you leave an area of land and you don't touch it, who has an acre of land in their house? Okay, do you cut the grass? No. So what happens when you don't cut the grass? And what's in the back of your land? There is? A forest.
Forest.
Really? So you leave that land and you let it go and you let it go and you let it go and a forest will form somehow. Right? So hopefully land will regenerate, but in some cases it doesn't. All right, perpetual resource has a little star also. It's the sun. I've seen that question come up on the AP exam. It's not renewable, it's not non-renewable, it's perpetual. It has its own category. And obviously without the sun there's no life, so. So who abuses Earth's resources more than anyone else?
Mankind.
What kind of man?
Humans.
USA. Us, for US. The United States of America. The biggest abuser, consumer of resources in the entire world. Yes. By like you can have a country and they use 5% and we use 95.
How is the sun perpetual? Because it's a star and it will eventually burn out. So.
Well, here's the answer to that. When the sun burns out,
No, that.
goodbye Earth.
So is is it just perpetual because that would be obviously a ways away?
I hope it doesn't. Yeah, I know. Cause yeah, the sun supposedly is undergoing a reaction and eventually something's gonna happen, but hopefully not in our lifetime, right? Or my kids or their kids. All right, if everyone in the world uses resources at the same rate that the United States consumes, you would need, what did I say? The Earth's natural capital would only support 1.3 billion people. And how many people are on Earth? 7 billion. That's how excessive we are as a country. So we would need 5 Earths. And then you already did your ecological footprint, so you see that you took it. How many of you needed 5 Earths to survive? Raise your hand. How many of you needed more? How many of you needed less? I think it was, wow. So we have some environmental people here. Or they live close, or they don't travel. I mean, these are things that took into effect, or what their choices of food, or shopping, or traveling. Really, traveling is a big, big, big significant thing. Yes?
So, are there like countries, like civilized countries not underdeveloped, that keep a small amount of used resources, like, I don't know, like better than underdeveloped countries? I can't imagine underdeveloped countries, you know, being as like polluting as like anyone in, you know, even close to the U.S. because they don't have factories or
Correct.
stuff like that.
I mean, they're not industrialized,
Right.
which there's the key word. But there are countries that are industrialized that are shifting, and that's one of our next topics, is the shift of societies on Earth, and how we went from, you know, being less exhausting or nice to Earth to destroying Earth to shifting. I honestly feel like we are shifting in a direction where I'm going to have to rewrite all my notes, and there's going to be a lot more positive things to say. Number one, we don't have a choice, because the resources that we depend on that are causing all these problems are running out. So if we don't shift, we're just going to struggle, and we've seen that. What are we at war for? We will be.
Resources.
What resource?
Well,
I mean, what are we really at war for? That's what we said, right? But at the end, obviously there's terrorism, but they have the oil. End of story. We don't. They have it and we use it. For everything. I have a lab called Life Without Petroleum, and it's pretty devastating. Unless if we make a difference. And we are. You go to Whole Foods, and what do they have?
Charges for your electric.
Chargers for your electric car. Talk about a shift rapid. If you go to California, that's everywhere. And for a long time, you charged up for free. If you shopped in their store, you charged up for free. So there are some states in the United States that are shifting. Why? Because they have to. Or they have, you know, strong voices behind them. Oh, I'm going to have to skip this, because we got to do our lab, which will be Monday. I'm going to keep defining. Let's go here, okay? Because we're going over each environmental problem with a brief definition to each.
There's a blank left out after the rate that the U.S. consumes for what we need.
5 Earths. And you obviously, what better way, if I would have projected that without you going to do your footprint, you wouldn't really understand, but it's obviously true. In this class alone, people were at 5 and above, except for 4. All right, pollution and degradation. What are they? If we're polluting, what are we doing?
Degradation.
Yes, degrade means bringing down. We're changing its state by introducing chemicals that are harmful. I'm gonna have to press